let's talk about the other sad things this week, if I can. And I hate to finish the show on a sort of sad note, but the passing of Judith Durham, AO, far too young, but she'd been ill for a hell of a long time, and Dame Olivia Newton-John, equally far too young, but been unwell for a heck of a long time as well. Both inspiring, both marvellous performers. Any reflections you can offer on that, Erin?
When I think back to ever wanting to be on television, it was because of Olivia Newton-John, and I still remember the very day. I was about 8 years old, sitting in my parents' house in Albany, Western Australia, far too young to be watching Grease, by the way, but there I was watching Grease, and she came out in those pants, and I was like, how do I get inside the television? And you know, I as a child had a long and wonderful time growing up doing dancing and singing in musical theatre and ballet and all kinds of things, and I absolutely put it down to watching Grease. And even sitting here today, you know, the magic of television, well, you know, when she passed away, I thought, oh, that's why I wanted to do that. So, yeah, so it is actually, I was really sad to hear about Olivia Newton-John in particular, because she did have a really big impact on my life.
Yeah, look, I went to the original premiere release of Grease in Brisbane in 1978. And wait for it, Johnny O'Keefe, the legendary Johnny O'Keefe, was there to launch Grease. I mean, heavens above. Anyway, the world just is very small. Daisy, I mean, you come from a performing family. You understand the sort of efforts and skills to stay on stage. But let's face it, Judith Durham, 60 years of singing, entertaining, enthralling the world. I saw her in concert but once. Olivia, I saw her in concert with that main event, the great main event shows that she did with Farnham. Judith Durham, as Sir Elton John said, had the purest pop music voice ever. She was just absolutely extraordinary.
Yes, she really was. And look, I don't know as much about her as Olivia Newton-John, but, you know, I've heard a lot of her singing. She had some really iconic songs. And yeah, there's something about the kind of, this voice, it has this real lightness about it, but at the same time, it's clear and it has this piercing, you know, beautifully supported quality. And it sounds like it's the type of voice that no matter how long she sang for, it would just never tire, and it would just float and continue to create this beautiful magic. And as you know, a listener, that is just so totally enthralling, particularly when you compare it to music nowadays, which is just trash. Sorry, you know, the contemporary music nowadays. You compare it to that beautiful Judith Durham sound, and you know that kind of music just doesn't happen anymore. It's so sad that she passed away. I mean, my God, what an absolute talent. And of course, beautiful Olivia Newton-John. I mean, I actually rewatched Grease just at random because I thought, oh, I'll rewatch Grease. You know, a few months ago, I'd forgotten how sodding good that movie is. It's so great. There's something in it for everyone.
Oh, there is.
God, I need to watch this at least twice a year. But oh God, rest in peace, the pair of them. What a terrible loss to the world.
Yeah, and in the case of Olivia, the enormous work she's done in the charitable pursuits of the Olivia Newton-John Centre in Melbourne. And look, Bronwyn, as I said, the reflections are enormous. But the Seekers with Judith Durham still have the record, the biggest crowd for a live concert, 200,000 people in their, I think it was their farewell concert, but either way, massive in the 60s, 200,000 people.
I know, but doesn't it just show once again how Australia plays above its weight when it comes to people in the music world? And I did have the pleasure of knowing Olivia Newton-John. I too, before I ever met her, was under the spell of Grease. And then I ended up playing the head mistress in a production.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yes, I did.
Rydell High it was.
Lots of fun, yes. Which was lots and lots of fun. We did 8
I can see you doing that. Practising for the speaker.
That's a fabulous role, that headmistress Bronwyn.
It was a fabulous role, and it was lots of fun. And we did it on the beach at Clontarf, so it was called Grease on the Beach.
See, I love this sort of...
Lots of fun.
I love this theatre talk.
We've lost 2 remarkable singers who were loved across the world. We claimed Olivia, even though she was born in Britain, but she was ours. She was brought up here.
Oh, she's very Australian.
But I loved the story that she got the role because Helen Reddy had a dinner party where she was introduced to the director.
Heavens above.
So that's how she got the role. How about that? Isn't that gorgeous? Another Australian helping another Australian as we go.
Yeah, and the late Helen Reddy, she lived for a little while on Norfolk Island. When I was on Norfolk Island, everyone said that was Helen Reddy's house, just there.
Well, I did have the pleasure of knowing Helen Reddy quite well.
There you go.
She was a wonderful, wonderful woman.